I joined the League because I felt it was not a frivolous organization. It's an organization with a purpose.
You may come to it because you're interested in pay equity or a women's issue, but you may end up understanding more about international relations or trade, or about solid waste, or about groundwater, and that, you know, all those issues are ultimately women's issues.
The League of Women Voters has certainly been most helpful to me personally. I really feel that I've grown.
And if I had the power to do any recommendation, I would say to women to join it. I think they need it. I think that the African-American women need to be informed about what's going on in politics.
I think of the League as a very good mechanism for social change because the League looks for colleagues, looks for partners.
We just feel that the League has something for everybody, no matter what their level of commitment can be as far as time is concerned.
Over 100,000 members, men and women, each with a personal reason for joining. Many League members choose the League as the vehicle for their activism, and thousands of League members who can't participate actively know that their financial support benefits other League members who can. Across the country, from Seattle to Sarasota, League members are working together to improve their communities, local, state, and national governments, to take back the system.
It's the nitty-gritty, you know, how you really get it done and how you get it financed, because everything else, if you talk about needs, you have to figure out how to pay for them. And the League didn't just talk about the needs, they also talked about the strategies for getting it done. I know Margee asked me right away if I wanted to be in the housing committee, and I think she asked me to meet her at some time in some place in some parking lot. We were going to tour Willard Homewood neighborhood.
We saw large developers in the early 70s come in and try to take down whole neighborhoods and build high-rise apartment buildings and sort of faceless housing structures that the people who lived in the neighborhood didn't want.
I think that's the thrust that got us.
For years, Peggy and Margee worked together as housing chairs for the Minneapolis League, grappling with the problems of urban renewal.
Really, we were so critical of the infill housing. And you can drive around the city now and see that stuff, and it looks bad to this day. And in our criticism, I remember some bureaucrat looked at us and said, you know, if you girls think it's so easy, you should try. And I'm sure he didn't think we would, but we did.
They took the skills they had learned at the League and went into business building housing for low-income families that was desirable and attractive.
Well, this is the project that Margee and I built right away. It's almost 12 years old now, and it's an 8-unit, Section 8 townhouses, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units.
The advantages are the play area, they're close to schools. One family actually moved out and then missed it so much they came back.
Nobody wanted to build this project because it was very small and you know, not the size that they could make a lot of money on. We've been turned down by one, his numbers were too high, he didn't work out, and so we had one last builder that we thought we would give a try. We called him up and asked him to meet us for breakfast. Do you remember that? Yeah. We said, well, you need to help us build this project. And since then, I don't know how many millions of dollars of housing he's done for us, but he doesn't call us girls anymore. It really wasn't that hard to get into this business. A lot of common sense, a lot of tenacity, a lot of refusing to give it up.
Almost all the people we had to work with were government officials at one level or another, and because we had done housing studies and had lobbied through the League of Women Voters, we knew enough of these people or knew somebody who knew them to have some credibility when we came in to see them. We probably both have, or had at that time, a feeling that of empowerment through the League and wanting to be some of the first women in these types of fields.
It's fair to say, I think, that in the last 10 years we've built more housing in the city of Minneapolis than any other developer. It doesn't cost more to put, or very little more, to put a little porch on, put a little gable on, make sure that it complements the neighborhood. instead of detracting from the charm of the neighborhood. When you build and construct new housing for low-income people, to give them poorly constructed housing is a poor short-term decision.
Number one, we do not have enough daycare. The daycare we have, parents cannot afford. I have a problem with latchkey children, having my children go through the latchkey with the key around the neck. I have a problem with children being housed and we don't know who's taking care of the children. I have a problem with children being left alone and locked out of the homes on many occasions. I have a problem with children in the morning being put out of the houses early in the morning in inclement weather and standing in front of a school because they can't get it until 8:30. So there were many things happening to school-age children as well as the younger children with not enough space and not enough service for families that want to work. It's a dream to see that children are getting the services that they need, not the lip services, but actually seeing something happen.
Unlike many of the suburban communities, the Board of Education in Newark does not have the resources to do as much for after-school care as we would like. I'm happy that we have this resource room here now. It represents a cooperative effort of many of the groups that are very diverse and that are working in child care. And I think we bring all these people together and all these groups together. If the League served as the catalyst to bring this kind of cooperation in this community, we're happy to do it.
Over 60 organizations joined together to found this child care coalition. First, they published a directory of available child care resources. Then they offered a training seminar for daycare providers. That success highlighted a need for a permanent resource and training center.
I'm behind.
And all this started with seed money from the National League of Women Voters.
The Newark League of Women Voters members are involved in a host of agencies that are connected with child care, which made it very easy to pull all the groups of support that we needed to make this coalition come off.
This is a good book.
The Resource Center is truly an incentive to begin programs because here you find support for. Through the coalition, you find support for school-age child care programs, and with the resource room that was funded by League contribution and Department of Human Services, you also have a network so that directors can support directors in both starting and running their centers.
I know some of the needs that we have heard from people are to talk about discipline, guiding children's behavior, child development, nutrition, curriculum development. But there are some needs that we don't know that people have. And we're hoping that we can do that. We're hoping eventually that this place be what we call a one-stop shop.
I'm making a clown. I want to make a circus.
This was a League dream. Not only did they do something about that concern, but they stopped talking and went to work.
It's a national program.
If one child is helped, then the change has been tremendous. If one parent has taken her child out and read a book, if one staff person has come into this area and developed a curriculum that's going to help 20 children, then that we will feel the children will grow, the staff will grow, and the city will grow.